a 38-goal man last year with the New York Islanders. LaFontaine from St. Louis, Missouri, but grew up in Detroit. And it's 1-0 for Team USA. Now Eddie Olczyk firing it in. Back to get it is Bourque for Canada. Bourque firing a long one in. Digging in now is Rick Tocchet. Tocchet taken out by Langway and Hatcher. Works it to Aaron Broughton. Flipped into center, and Larry Murphy has it for the United States. Murphy giving it to Bourque. Canada has fallen behind here on the goal by LaFontaine. Here's Rick Tocchet. Flips it in. Van Beesbrook plays the puck, then fires it up on the boards. Broughton couldn't get it. Here's Bourque. Centered, deflected. Van Beesbrook the save as Goulet deflected it, then had a whack on it. Play is called, and then Langway and Tocchet almost get into it. Told you this would be North American type hockey. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
Well, some great action in front of the net that got a little more vigorous than I think the coaches wanted. Here's the shot by Bourque coming in now. Bouncing puck. Now watch as Tocchet jams it. Now Tocchet moving in, and he threw an elbow at Langway. Langway then took it across the side of the neck, and that's what started all the pushing and shoving. Meanwhile, Van Beesbrook managed to make the save. However, a little earlier, before the goal, as we see Langway worked on that's where he took the stick across the side of his neck, and he's just getting that checked. All right, now here's what happened to Kevin Dineen. Suter is the one that ran into him, and watch the leg. It seemed to double back as he went into the corner on a good, clean hit by Suter, who had a good shift because he caused the turnover in the other end of the ice as well. But look at the problems that Kevin Dineen is having now getting to the bench. And when he got to that bench, he was really in trouble, and he had to be helped to the dressing room area. And just as he got to the gate, somebody skated by and gave him a whack as the gate opened. Here it is, just backed right into him. So that's just a rough ride all the way around for Kevin Dineen.
Minor penalties to Langway for high sticking, to Tocchet for roughing. Langway, by the way, has been cut, and he's over at the Team USA bench and is going to have to return to the dressing room for some stitches.
Watch this jam, and here's Langway. Now there's the shot he took. Now he pushes back. He gets the crack across the side of the head, and reaction kind. And I think that the calls made by Carl Gustav Kaisla of Finland were perfectly legitimate. And Bob Johnson, I don't know what his complaint is now, except I guess there's an injury caused. There is not a rule for drawing blood in hockey, but there is a rule for creating injury in the process of committing a foul. But there were two fouls there, and both of them were called.
By the way, all penalties are served in international hockey. They don't use the coincidental minor penalty rule as they do in the NHL, so each team will be a man short here. Kaisla getting some words from veteran linesman John D'Amico. Kaisla is from Finland, by the way.
While we're waiting for this to get underway here, let's take a look at it again. Van Beesbrook's the guy right in the middle of it. Here's a shot across the ear. That's where he got cut, across the ear. That hurts. It rings a couple of bells, too. And Rick Tocchet involved. You knew this was going to happen. This generally happens when these two teams meet. And you may not see it the rest of the tournament, as discipline seems to go to the four wins when North Americans meet North Americans, but then they settle down when they have to play the European team.
The other thing to remember is if you fight in this competition, you get thrown out of the game and you're suspended for the next one. So both these teams would have to be cautious because they each have big games coming up. Here's Gretzky in behind the net for Propp. Back to Gretzky. He's tied up on the play by Housley. Gretzky gets free, centered, bouncing puck, and unable to handle it was Propp in front of the net. Here's Big Joe Olato, number 29, in with Carpenter. Pass to Carpenter. Coffey took the man and got the puck and then cleared it to Gretzky. Misses him. Mike Ramsey going back, but Van Beesbrook plays it. Shot on the boards. Carpenter couldn't get it out, and now racing over is Ramsey, but he lets Otto take over. To Mike Ramsey. 2-on-2 break. Ramsey with Carpenter. Ramsey tied up by Coffey. Shoots from a bad angle. Fuhr makes the save and gives it to Coffey, number 77. Each team a man short. Coffey to Gretzky. Lead pass to Glenn Anderson. Suter took him out. Now it's shot in by Crossman. And Chelios is back for Team USA. Chelios moving it to Kelly Miller. Miller gets away from Anderson. Now shot it to the line. Murphy knocks it down. Murphy loses to Bob Brook. Now Murphy gets it back again. Drops it to Bourque. United States doing an excellent checking job at this point as they're completely bottling Canada up. Here's Brook. Drops it back. Shot by Miller into center ice, and here's Chelios. Into Suter. Suter shoots right on. Fuhr to his knees to make the save. And then hold on to it for a faceoff. Gary Suter. Now to Chelios. Chelios dropping it back. Presley shot. Hit LaFontaine. Deflected wide. LaFontaine centered. Presley fanned on it. Now Kelly Miller a shot. LaFontaine a backhander that Fuhr had to stop. Here's Suter at the point. He shot it wide. Miller over to pick it up. Crossman ties him up. In comes Mario Lemieux. Shot out into center ice by Canada. The United States taking it right to Canada at this point. They're leading 1-0 and outplaying them. Here's Suter shooting it down the ice. Digging in is Presley, and that's going to be called back in an offside pass. 5:15 left in the first period. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
Penetrating the Team Canada defenses. They hit the line, and they're, let's take a look at it. As you can see, Team Canada here on the rush as they hit the line.
3 men back there for Team
3
USA.
men, and they're handling it very well. They're just overloading, and of course Canada's not getting through at all. They need to get a little bit, I think, a few shorter passes help them a little bit.
United States has outshot Canada 10-8 to this point and lead 1-0. Here's the man that's had the goal, Pat LaFontaine, firing it in. Presley in to get it. Murphy leaves it for Bourque. Here's Bourque to Dale Hawerchuk with Claude Lemieux and Brent Sutter dumped in. Van Beesbrook out to fire it on the boards. Now the United States as Ramsey knocked it ahead with a hand pass to number 14, Wayne Presley, and that's called back because of a hand pass.
Well, there's Wayne Presley of the Chicago Blackhawks. He played with a Memorial Cup champion in Kitchener, Ontario, but he's from the Chicago area. Actually, from the Detroit area, as are many of this team. As a matter of fact, the city of Detroit is the highest representation of any city on Team USA. They have a total of 5 members from Detroit, including Van Beesbrook, Hatcher, Kelly Miller, Presley, of course, and Pat LaFontaine. And they also cut one, a youngster who I think we'll be seeing in later years, Jimmy Carson.
From the Los Angeles Kings. He was a big goal scorer as a rookie, but I didn't feel he had the tempo at this level at this time. Here's Nyland trying to get it out, couldn't, and Hatcher feeds it into center ice. Fraser giving it to Chris Nyland. Nyland winding up, shoots, and a good save by Fuhr in traffic, and he held on to it. And then we get the skirmish in front of the net. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.
Well, number 30 is Chris Nyland, who is about to enter his 9th NHL season, and who would have bet that a few years ago when Nyland came to the Montreal Canadiens? He was a late draft choice who was not even thought of, I don't think, by the Canadiens organization. He's worked very hard to stay in the NHL. I think over the years his play has improved quite a bit too, in his ability and his skills.
Really have. From the face-off, and jam up on the boards. Nyland is in there bashing with Sutter. Now Sutter couldn't get it out. Fraser's shot handled by Fuhr. And Canada take over and try and work it out of there. Poked to center by Messier, and then Nyland shoots it back in. Fraser was trapped in there offside. And we'll get a face-off at Team Canada's blue line with 3:54 left in period 1.
Well, there's Kirk Fraser. Now, Kirk Fraser was born in the United States but moved to Canada at a very early age. However, he qualifies for Team USA. Fraser, who's I think been noted as a pretty tough guy over the years, and also has just a limited amount of international experience, and that experience actually was playing for Team Canada at the 1979 World Junior Championship in Montreal.
Here's Murphy having to hustle to move a loose puck from in front of the net. Mark Johnson, number 12, shooting it into Canada's end. Canada trying to clear it out, and here comes Rick Tocchet. Into center ice to Prop. Long shot, turned aside, and fired out of there by Ramsey, and hustling after it is Corey Millen for USA. Centering one, good defensive play by Coffey to break it up. Canada then clear it to center. Corey Millen, who's in the lineup tonight, replacing Joe Mullen, who was unable to answer the bell because of a bruised knee. Here's Larry Murphy for Canada. Just flips it in, and Housley is there. Housley firing it back out. They leave it for Gretzky. Olczyk runs into him, and now Brian Propp has it. Propp couldn't get around Joel Otto. There's some tough checking by Olczyk on the far side. And now Tocchet getting into it with Otto. And they have to be separated by the linesman Kevin Collins. And hold on, Propp is getting into it at the other end, or the other side with Olczyk.
Oh, the minor league skirmish rather, that I don't think is leading to anything, including penalties. I wouldn't imagine. So I'd like to remind you of our upcoming first intermission. Dan Matheson will be talking with Paul Coffey of Team Canada. U.S. head coach Bob Johnson will be joining Dan as well. Brad Park will have some of the highlights of this first period of play. Dan Kelly will be around with the Toyota scoreboard. USA 1, Canada nothing with 2:47 left in the period.
Only scoring play. LaFontaine and now Otto and Messier push at each other as they were about to drop the puck. They're tossed out of there. Carpenter now Otto and Messier off to the side. Continue to argue with one another.
Mistake made there, I guess, is don't let them line up against each other when you kick them out of the face-off circle.
Well, all you can do is kick them off. You can't tell them where to line up. Well, they're still pushing at each other.
John D'Amico standing right behind him, watching very closely.
Claude Lemieux took the face-off. Canada win it. Hartsburg firing it in. And Otto uphands Messier as that battle continues. And he's got to get an interference. Otto and Messier continued to feud, and he hooked them down.
All right, we're going to watch this right from the face-off, and the referee knew something was going to happen here. Otto just didn't use good common sense here. A little shot there, that's fine. Now as they hit the line, Otto is going to interfere with Messier. There it is. And down he goes, and Otto draws the penalty. So,
well, Messier has the last word there.
I think so.
And he didn't have to say a thing. Joel Otto gets the interference call. 17-21 the time. Otto, one of those big centers we were talking about. 6'4", 220. Out of Minnesota. And there's a pretty big guy himself.
Well, and strong, and I think that's as much of a key. That's one of the reasons why they like Otto in the lineup. He can neutralize, or try to neutralize, a guy like Messier. Bob Johnson has been complaining a little bit in this first period.
There's the United States being shorthanded. Bob Brooks able to clear it out of there, and Bourque goes back to Gretzky, back to Larry Murphy. Canada with the man advantage. Here's Murphy to Gretzky. Flips it in. Bourque hustling in. Bourque tied up by Chelios. Brooke tried to clear it. Gretzky held it in. Now to Bourque, who has lost his stick. And then it's shot away by Brooke, and Canada will have to retreat. 1:28 left in the penalty. Murphy to Coffey as Canada changes on the go. Back to Murphy. There's Brooke, or at least up there, forechecking now is Carpenter. And doing a very good job. He's in deep. Now he drops off, and Canada will carry it out of there, led by Murphy, hitting Messier. Mark Messier around to Gretzky. Gretzky can't get it. Here's Murphy. Over to the other point. Crossman shoots one. That's high and wide. And Murphy going back to get it again. Now to Crossman. Cross to Gretzky. Over onto the other wing. Crossman couldn't get anywhere. Gretzky tried to carry in. Great play by Mark Johnson to break it up, and then he took some punishment from Crossman. Here's Bourque to Messier. Back to Bourque. Bourque moving in. Feeds it to Crossman. Shot it right through the goal crease. And the United States get it, and Miller clears it away. 23 seconds left in the penalty. Great penalty killing here by Team USA.
Canada hasn't had a shot yet. And with this kind of power on the ice, it's hard to believe.
Here's Brent Sutter trying to carry in. Dropping it back for Murphy. Murphy to Mario Lemieux in behind the net. Now they center to Lemieux, put it right through the goal crease. Here's Bourque back to Howardchuk. Howardchuk shoots one deflected, and that went just wide as Brent Sutter got his stick on it. Penalized player is back on Joe Alano. So the United States has killed it off. Canada firing it in. And here is Joe Alano. Puts it to center. This game starting to heat up as Lemieux really gave Ottawa stiff check. Here's Sutter. Shoots it in, then that's offside at Team USA's blue line. 13 seconds left in the period, and there's going to be some black and blue marks on some bodies on both sides tonight.
What a terrific game the United States is playing here. They are really after each other, but the United States is showing all of the discipline, and they seem to be stripping the lanes as far as Canada is concerned. Not really getting much of a chance to get across the line. Canada had just the one shot. Claude Lemieux continuing. I watched Lemieux and Otto. There's Lemieux. You mentioned that check that he threw. Lemieux went down more than Otto did. A lesser of that.
Here's the loose puck. Tocchet knocking it into Team USA's end. Chelios back to get it, number 24. 5 seconds left in the period. Bobby Carpenter firing it in. And it's cleared right back out by Team USA. And then Tocchet almost gets into it. Now somebody grabs Claude Lemieux down in the corner. And that's the way the first period concludes between Team Canada and Team USA. Two old buddies.
Well, United States, we knew were ready to play this game. They've been playing very well in the tournament so far. Lemieux and I think Otto must be in the middle of that. I think that's a residual from what happened just near the end of the period. But the United States is playing as well as I think they're capable of. They're playing an excellent defensive game. Canada still not sharp, especially around the net.
Shots on goal in the first period. USA had 13, Canada 11. This is the Labatt Canada Cup.